Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? This is Nzali with Nzali Takes Africa. I am so excited to come to you today. But before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I want to invite every Black woman to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on this channel because here on this channel, I support Black women in creating the life that they deserve while living on the African continent. So if that sounds good to you, then this is the place that you need to be. All right, so let's jump right into it. I want Ghana to stop marketing itself as a place for repatriation. So, for those of you who are like, what the heck is repatriation? Let me look up the definition for you. I got up my good old handy dandy Google. Repatriation. Let's get the definition very clear. So, according to good old Google Webster, repatriation, the return of someone to their own country, the sending of money back to one's own country. Okay, now what is the full meaning? To restore or return to the country of origin, allegiance, or citizenship. So now that word allegiance is important, especially when you are talking about members of the African diaspora. Because as we know, the African diaspora is very diverse, right? You have people of the diaspora in South America, in the US and Canada and all over Europe. I mean, literally all over this world, you can find members of the African diaspora, right? But specifically for this video, I want to talk about those who, as the African Union has coined us, the sixth region of Africa, those who are products of the transatlantic slave trade, and that is what is the cause of them being outside of their said continent of origin. Right? Because even during those times, the countries as they would have been or areas as they would have been then are not exactly how they look now. So a lot of us in the African diaspora may not identify Ghana as their country of origin, but there is an allegiance to Ghana. And I think that is where we're going wrong when we talk about this repatriation journey as a marketing tool of the Ghanaian government. So very plain and simple, I want to talk about that today. Are we in Ghana in search for tourism, or are we in search for repatriation when it comes to the African diaspora? So I want to start us off by talking about some of the components that make a space a tourist destination, like a great tourist spot. One of them is your attractions. Right? How many things are there to do? How many man-made things are there to do? How many natural things are there to do? And that's really like activity based. You know, do you have waterfalls? Do you have paintballing fields? You know, what are the attractions that are going to bring people in? The second one is accessibility. How accessible are the things that you're drawing people's attention to? When we say accessibility, we're talking about transportation. Is it roadway? Is it rail, which are usually the cheaper options, air, and water, right? Then we have accessibility. Oh, sorry, I said accessibility. Sorry. Then we have accommodation. Is this service accommodation, like a hotel where you have, you know, service staff that are there to help you while you're in this space? Or is it, and I have notes here, you guys, is it self-catering? Right? Is it something kind of like Airbnb or, you know, a youth hostel or something kind of like that? So then you have the accommodation, and then you have amenities. The amenities are the sprinkles on top. The amenities are the things that make people say, wow, like I love when I went to Cancun. Like I will go to Cabo every year if I could. I love Jamaica. Like I absolutely just mwah. Like what are those amenities, natural and man-made? Like I remember when I went to Thailand is known for having beautiful sunsets, so a part of their like tourism packages always included like a sunset. Like you could literally go on a sunset tour. One of the best moments I've ever had on vacation was when I was in Thailand. I literally woke up to get to the beach before the sun came up. I watched the sun come up, and then I stayed on the beach the whole day and watched the sun go down. It's the most beautiful thing like I've ever seen, right? So that's an amenity, right? That's a natural amenity. Then you have man-made amenities. You know, what are the arts and culture scene? Are there clubs? Are there plays, performances, all of that kind of stuff? So that's what we're looking at when we say tourism, right? And when we look at it as tourism, I think Ghana meets a number of the requirements because there are plenty of attractions, especially during the peak season, right? Which is usually going towards the end of the year, like November, December, January, and the middle of the year, which is like summertime in the States, right? June, July, August. There's usually a lot of attractions around that time. And we know that Ghana has beautiful natural attractions. Like nobody who's ever been to this country can say Ghana's not physically, land-wise beautiful. Just driving through the country, which I have done. I've done a road tour. It's breathtaking, right? So attractions, check. Ghana, we have it. When it comes to accessibility, that's where we're lacking, right? We still have a ways to go with making our roadway systems connect in a way that's easy for tourism. We also don't have the best railway system throughout the country, so that's another one. And we don't really use waterway systems. Excuse me. Bless you, girl. Okay. And then we don't really have as many airports throughout the country. But then Ghana is also a very small country, so it's like, do you need a whole bunch of airports? I don't know. But the point is, there's some pieces when it comes to accessibility that we can work on. Then we have accommodation. Within the 6 years that I have been in Ghana, the accommodations have improved dramatically. There's a lot more of a variety of places you can stay between service and self-service. I think some of the self-service spaces are starting to pick up traction because they're just economically more feasible for a lot of travelers. But that one, yes, check. Ghana, we got accommodation, check to attractions, right? And then it comes to the amenities, right? And I think Ghana has quite a number of amenities which kind of pull people into the space. So when we're looking at tourism, the only area that I feel like we really don't have down packed solid is accessibility, right? So if we're saying, okay, yes, Ministry of Tourism, we're going around the world, we're pushing Ghana tourism, then I think that that's a conversation that we can confidently say, yes, Ghana is a tourist destination in West Africa. It's the safest one. It's the safest bet. Go to Ghana if you want to go on vacation and have a good time. Okay, so now let's take that hat off, put it to the side. Oh, I think I'm a little ashy, y'all. Forgive me. Put that one to the side. Now let's talk about repatriation, right? Repatriation has that word of allegiance. And this is where I think the Ghanaian government is going wrong. Ghana's government is mixing this conversation of repatriation with tourism. And I think that that's a dangerous space because when we talk about repatriation, we have to talk about environmental factors. And when I say environmental factors, I'm talking about the economic conditions of the country, the political conditions of the country, the technological position of the country, social and cultural positioning, legal and environmental. And this is where you really have to begin to dig deep and look at where is Ghana. When we start talking about being a player in the world, bringing in new citizens from other places, we have to talk about the things that matter. Not to turn up at the beach, going down to Labadi, not to turn up at Bloom, not to turn up at Alley Bar. We have to talk about the things that really impact people's daily lives. So this is where I think we're hitting the ball, like we're overpricing ourselves, right? I don't think that Ghana is a place that is fully ready for the type of repatriation that it's advertising. And specifically in this video, I want to focus in on the social and cultural aspect. Now, there are plenty other things we can go through, and maybe I'll do those in another video, like the economics, political, technological, all of that. But for this one particularly, I want to talk about the social and cultural aspect. When we say social and cultural aspect of environmental factors, when we're speaking about repatriation, the first thing we have to address is the attitude that the people have about said repatriation. And to be very honest, across Africa, we are known to be very tribal people. This tribe versus this tribe versus this tribe. And even within the Ghanaian context, people are very tribal. You're Fanti over here, you are Ewe over there, you are Dagambe here. And so now you're adding in another player into the tribes, which are the sixth region, the Africans from the diaspora. We have to ask ourselves, what is the attitude of the everyday Ghanaian when it comes to repatriates, foreigners, Africans of the diaspora coming back into their country? What do they feel about that? And I think with tourism, everybody says that Ghana is known for its hospitality. Oh, the people are so warm, they're so welcoming. Yes, they are for short amounts of time. When we're talking about repatriation is the long game. It's the long distance running, the marathon. Ghana is good for sprints. Tourism in a very, tourism is the short run. It's the sprint, right? It's not even the relay, really. It's literally the 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, okay? Repatriation is long distance running. That means that you have to start thinking about the real attitude of the people. And from my experience living here for 6 years, the attitude is not that favorable of people coming and integrating fully in a more permanent way. And the one thing that I want to point out that lets you know that the attitude isn't the most welcoming as it seems when you come on vacation is this one little piece. And this one little thread in the fabric that continues to just, if you pull it, it's just going to make the whole thing unravel, is this concept around honesty and operating in integrity. And because so many of us coming from the African diaspora have experienced so many different forms of trauma that are different from our people who live here in Ghana and the trauma and experiences that they have, we in the diaspora are coming expecting a certain level of honesty. But see, here's where we have messed up. We have to define what that means. Because in the context here in Ghana, what I, as a person from the diaspora, may consider dishonest is really just regular, everyday, how things go. Prime example, I have an issue with my plumbing, right? I contract somebody to come and do the plumbing. Okay, they tell me they'll be here on Wednesday, right? I've paid the deposit. Wednesday, I'm here. I've taken off work. I'm waiting for the plumber to show up. Wednesday comes and goes. No call, no text, no answering of my calls or WhatsApp messages. No plumber. Thursday comes. I call and say, hey, I was expecting you yesterday. What happened? Oh, sorry, I had a program to go to on Wednesday, so I wasn't able to make it. To me, as someone coming from the diaspora, that registers as being dishonest. You knew when you took the deposit you weren't going to be available on Wednesday, but yet you committed to Wednesday with me, knowing there was never an intention on coming on Wednesday. You really wanted to come on Friday. So when we start looking at that piece, right, and we have to start saying, okay, what is the attitude? What is the attitude? Then we have people who are from Ghana who are saying, but this is how we do things here. When in Ghana, do as Ghanaians do. But we have to think about short running, sprinting, or long run. If it is the government's intention to create a tourism space, then take the repatriation out of it. right? Unless we are willing to look at the social and cultural differences of both groups of people, how those two can mesh together, and then start creating systematic shifts and structures for those two to coexist in the same space peacefully. If not, I would encourage the Ghanaian government to just focus on the sprinting. Just focus on the tourism. Take the conversation of repatriation, citizenship, take it out of the game. Become, the Cabo of West Africa, the Jamaica of West Africa. Don't market yourselves as the gateway to Africa. Because what I'm noticing with myself and a lot of other diasporans who have made the transition back to Africa via Ghana is that a number of people are leaving dissatisfied, leaving feeling like they've been lied to, leaving feeling like what was marketed is not what they got. And there's a lot of things that or assumptions that were made on the diaspora side, but there also is a lot of misleading information about what it is and what it means to repatriate to Ghana. And I think that my appeal to the Ghanaian government is for us to have a real honest conversation on what we're trying to do. Are we pushing tourism or are we pushing repatriation? All right, that's all I got for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. If you are an African of the diaspora who has traveled to Ghana and you feel like you had an amazing experience as a tourist, let me know. If you're a person who has repatriated and you have had a great or not so great experience, again, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you feel. If you're a Ghanaian, what is your attitude about repatriation versus tourism? All right. Again, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This is Nzali with Nzali Takes Africa. Peace. Until next time. Bye, y'all.